Hey guys, and welcome back to the Peteytown Piranhas, a college football 2016 builder dynasty. In this episode, we're going to be going through year 23 of the program, and last year we won our 6th consecutive national championship, something we've done before, so we matched ourselves there, and we're trying to surpass ourselves this season by winning 7 consecutive national championships. And we have some other streaks going as well. We have won 12 straight Big Ten championships, and we're trying to make that 13, and we also have a regular season game winning streak going, as we have won 13 seasons in a row with no losses in the regular season, and we're trying to make that 14 this year, so we'll see if we can do that. And so we're going to start with the schedule that we're facing this year, then we're going to meet the team, and then we're going to look at the initial recruiting board. And if you like what you're watching, you can leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We're going to open up our season with 2 very tough road games with Oklahoma and Miami. Then we're going to have a bye week. Then we host Notre Dame. Then we jump into Big Ten play with Northwestern, Michigan State, and Michigan. Then we're going to take on UCLA and Penn State before a bye week. Then we take on Indiana, Wisconsin, Purdue. And then we go out of conference for our final game against Texas. In a bit of a change from recent seasons, the Peteytown Piranhas will not be ranked number 1 going into a season, as we're ranked number 2 going into this one. And we got 99s across the board, of course. And then we have 5 99 overall players, true 99 overall players, with Derek Sims and Glenn Kell at guard, and then Jose Homer, Tayshawn Whipple, and Caesar Juravicius. And you can see the secondary is to die for. And then we got Alex Keener, who didn't quite get to true 99 overall, but he is a 98 and 99 with tactician boost, so love to have that as our leader. As mentioned, Alex Keener will be leading our offense at quarterback, and then our halfback will be Tyler Cutler. At fullback will be Shakir Ferris. At wide receiver, you're going to see Cordell Canaday, Max Mechie, and Monty Bloom, with Frank Kenoy making appearances here and there. And then we're going to have tight end Stephen Fattencoon. And then this offensive line is replacing a really talented group that we miss dearly, but I think we're going to really have these guys filling in those shoes very well. You're going to have left tackle Miles Stitzer, then left guard Glenn Kell, who we previously saw. At center will be a guy moving over from tackle with Reed Cantwell. Then at right guard will be Kai Breeze, and right tackle will be Alex Vaughns. On defense, we're going to have Sammy Middlebrooks and Ed Henderson splitting this edge position. Then at the other edge will be John Callaway. Then defensive tackle, we're going to have Brian Stitzer and Ty Daly doing most of the work here, with DeJuan Aikman and Antoine Willett splitting other duties. Then we're going to have outside linebacker transfer Gil Reynaud. Middle linebacker will be Ben Incognito. And the outside linebacker on the other side will be Philip Gayton, another transfer. And we already saw this secondary and how talented they are. You got the 2 corners with Tayshawn Whipple and Jose Homer. And of course, Malik Huval will be our slot cornerback. And we're going to have free safety Derek Sims and strong safety Caesar Juravicius, with Sinlau Drake doing some duties in those multiple safety looks. Then we're going to have kicker Markel Komar and punter Ife Abanaconda, who is a freshman. We have 5 gems that we found so far in recruiting, with quarterback Christian Shelley at the top of the list. He's got 95 throw power, 85 short accuracy, and 82 medium accuracy, and he's got some mobility for a pocket passer. He's got 80 speed and 84 acceleration. Then you got outside linebacker Jameel Maddox, who brings a lot of skill, but the thing that really stands out is that platinum house call, which is incredible for a guy coming in. And then you got strong safety Billy Davis. He's got 90 speed and 88 acceleration and a couple of mental abilities. Then you got left guard Cortez Spoon, a pass protector. He's got 85 pass block power. He's got bronze pocket shield and play action shield. Then you got Mike linebacker Clifton Shudock. He brings 84 speed and 88 acceleration, 84 hit power, and he's also got bronze blow up. And then you got some other guys here. Adrian Crumpler, a wide receiver, 94 speed and acceleration, stands out. And you got Will linebacker Nick Session, got that gold house call and bronze robber, so things that really are intriguing. And you got quarterback George Fattencoon with 93 speed and 96 acceleration. And you got an athlete here with Duke Shelley, who'd be an edge player, 87 acceleration, 80 speed, and 80 finesse moves. And he's got a few mental abilities over there. Then you got Taylor Machado, an elusive bruiser, 90 speed and 90 acceleration is why I wanted to try and sign him. And then you got a bunch of guys here. You got John Harris, strong safety with 92 speed and acceleration, 83 zone coverage. He's also got that Legion ability, which is really good. And you got a bunch of other guys here that we want to fill out the depth chart with and see what they can turn into. On the first Heisman Trophy list of the season, we have two Peteytown Piranhas with Alex Keener and Cordell Canaday. It's time to open up our season with a tough road matchup against the Oklahoma Sooners with their 94 team overall, number 11 ranking, and it's a game of the week. And we're going to get an interception here on their second possession of the game, and we're going to have it set up right at their 30-yard line. What an interception there by our D lineman. I believe that's Sammy Middlebrooks. And Stephen Fattencoon is going to get free on the crosser, and Stephen will score our first touchdown of the year. And Sammy Middlebrooks set us up nicely with that nice disguise coverage to get the interception, and the offense will cash in to make it 7-0. And he tried to float one out there, and that's going to be intercepted by Jose Homer. Oklahoma was putting a nice drive together, and they were in scoring position, but now that's going to be taken away by Jose. And that is going to be intercepted by Oklahoma as we float it over the middle, trying to hit Max Mechie, and that's going to be Alex Keener's first pick of the year. And thrown to the outside, and that's going to be a touchdown for the Piranhas. That'll be backup tight end Jermaine Kuma on that one, and it's going to be 14-0 Piranhas. After that interception from Alex Keener, we got a nice stop that helped get us to this point to make it 14-0. And Stephen Fattencoon again is going to get into the end zone as our tight ends are going off in this one. That's the third time we've used that play to great success to get a score, and it's going to be 21-0 Piranhas. And it's thrown to the outside again, and that's the fourth touchdown by a tight end and the second by Jermaine Kuma. And it's going to be 28-0 Piranhas as we still just have dominated them with that one play here in the red zone. And Ty Daly is going to get back there for the first sack of the season for the Piranhas. Oklahoma's looking to get on the board finally here in this game with a short field goal, and their guy is going to put that through, and it's going to be 28-3. To end this first half, we're going to try a very long field goal with Markel Komar. This is going to be a 63-yarder. Markel puts all his might into it, and he is going to miss it, but can't blame him much for that one, as it's going to be 28-3 at halftime. And we are going to throw a touchdown there. It's going to be Sua Tautu making that catch. Couldn't tell who had it, but our guy Sua has it. And that's going to be the first play other than that other play that we've gotten 4 touchdowns on to get a score. And Sua's going to put us up 35-3. And that man is nice on the route there. It's going to be a stick route for Oklahoma to get that touchdown. And they're going to make it 35-10. And skying for that one, we're going to get the pick here with Tayshawn Whipple, and Tayshawn's going to bring it back to their 42-yard line. Nice coverage there by him. A little flex bone action for Tyler Cutler, and Tyler's going to push his way into the end zone, and we're going to make it 42-10. It was a very strong start to the season for the Peteytown Piranhas as we get this 44-10 victory over Oklahoma. Just really a lot of good things to look at here for the Piranhas and a lot of positive signs. On offense, we were able to get 461 yards to Oklahoma's 235. On the ground, we had 148 and a touchdown, and they had 23. For passing, we had 313, and they had 212. For third down, we were 8 for 11, and they were 7 for 16. And turnovers, we had 1, and they had 3. Alex Keener with one throw he'd like to have back, but he was solid for the rest of the day with 303 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a pick, and he was not sacked. Then for our running game, we had Tyler Cutler getting 10 for 46 and a touchdown, Alex Keener 7 for 45, and Bobby Grubb 8 for 45. And then for receiving, Stephen Fattencoon led us here with 11 catches, 104 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And we got Monty Bloom getting 5 for 55, Cordell Canady 3 for 40. And then you got Jermaine Kuma, his only 2 catches went for touchdowns, and he had 16 yards on top of that. And then we got an 8-yard touchdown catch from Sua Tautu. We were led in tackles today by Jose Homer, who got 9, and then for sacks, we got a couple here, 1 each by Ty Daly and Brian Castellanos. Then we got a few picks with Jose Homer, Sammy Middlebrooks, and Tayshawn Whipple. Then we're going to go all the way down here to the end because we got a safety, and it was with George Otis, and he literally just tackled their punter in the end zone on a fun little play. And then on the less fun side of things, you had Markel Komar missing his first kick of the year, but it was a very long attempt, so can't really blame him too much. We follow one big road test with another one, and this one's even tougher as we have to face off against number 1 Miami, our hated rivals, and they have a 99 team overall, and they won their first game, of course, and with it being number 1 versus number 2, it's of course the game of the week. And to the end zone, and it is going to be caught there by Max Mechie. What a bomb from Alex Keener, put in the absolute perfect place. Max Mechie comes away with it to make it 7-0 Piranhas. And that is a thrown deep ball, and that's going to be intercepted by Tayshawn Whipple. So we get our deep play to work. Miami tries to get one to work in their favor, but it backfires, and the Piranhas have it on their 41. And Tyler Cutler wide open. He's going to make the juke work out for him and shrug off another tackle attempt in the end zone. And Tyler Cutler is going to make it 14-0 after the interception from Tayshawn Whipple. After we got those 2 quick scores on Miami, they're going to go with a field goal here, and it's going to be 14-3. And Tyler Cutler is going to get up the middle in this flexbone formation, and we are going to take a 21-3 lead. And incoming with a sack here, it's going to be Ty Daly chasing him down. And really quickly here, it's going to be Brian Stitzer getting back there for the sack. And Cordell Canady is going to get the post route there off the RPO, and Cordell is in the end zone for the Piranhas as we take the commanding 28-3 lead. And here comes a sack for the Piranhas defense, our 3rd in the early going here in the first half as Cesar Jurevicius gets back there. We're going to see Markel Komar try a 60-yard field goal here, and Markel is going to put it up, and it has the distance, but it does not have the accuracy as we miss it wide to the left. And that's going to be John Calloway getting the forced fumble, and it's going to be Brian Stitzer picking it up, and the Piranhas are going to take over after the missed field goal from Markel. Nice job by the defense holding them there. And Cordell Canady is going to get around that man, and nobody is going to catch Cordell as he runs down the sideline into the end zone. Cordell Canady with an explosive play there, and it's going to be 35-3 Piranhas. And there's a fumble on the play, and it's going to be picked up by the Piranhas. That's going to be Philip Gayton scooping it up. Ben Incognito probably getting credited with that forced fumble. And Stephen Fattencoon on the crosser getting around the defense, and Stephen Fattencoon is going to score after another turnover by our defense, and it's going to be 42-3 in the first half. And he's getting chased down by Brian Stitzer, and he forces it out again on this quarterback, but this time Miami is going to recover it. The Piranhas drive it all the way to the Miami 1, but just can't punch it in, and Markel Komar is going to get another chance, and he has found the angle on that tough hash mark, and Markel has his first make of the year, and the Piranhas go up 45-3. And wide open is going to be Steven Fattencoon in the flat play, and Steven's going to put that one in as the first play of the fourth quarter, and it's going to be 52-3 Piranhas. The Piranhas are going to get this big victory over their rivals, the Miami Hurricanes, just absolutely dominant from our boys today, which is firing on all cylinders, really. Very proud of how we handled ourselves in this big matchup, and we really showed who the #1 team in the country is. We were very close to outgaining Miami by 400 yards, as we had 580 to their 181. On the ground, we had 146 and a touchdown, and they had 21. For passing, we had 434, and they had 160. For third down, we were 8 for 11, and they were 5 for 12. And for turnovers, we didn't have any, and we forced 3. Alex Keener was excellent today as he threw for 413, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. Then for running, we had Tyler Cutler almost get 100 as he had 14 carries, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Then for receiving, we had Cordell Canada, 5 for 115 and 2 touchdowns. Steven Fattencoon had 12, and he also had 115 for 2 touchdowns. Max Mechie, 5 for 97 and a touchdown. And Tyler Cutler, 6 for 45 and a touchdown. Ben Incognito led us today with 8 tackles, and he had 1 for a loss. And then for sacks, we had 2.5 from Brian Stitzer, 1 each for John Calloway, Caesar Juravicius, and J.P. Bridges, and half a sack for Ty Daly. We got that interception with Tayshawn Whipple, and then we had good fortune on forced fumbles today, as we got 3 with Brian Stitzer, John Calloway, and Ben Incognito, and we recovered 2 with Brian Stitzer and Philip Gayton. And then switching over to kicking, Markel Komar had another miss, but it was another 60-plus yarder, so can't really expect him to make those. But he did hit his first of the season on the tough hash mark with a 18-yarder. Tayshawn Whipple was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week with that interception, and he also had 4 pass deflections. In our early bye week, the big news with recruiting is that Mike linebacker Clifton Shudock is in his top 3, and we got him on a week 4 visit, and we got it with Billy Davis here, trying to get Billy away from all these Tier 5 pipeline teams, so we'll see if Clifton can help with that, and he's also got his hard sell going. And Clifton Shudock won't need that week 4 visit to commit to us, as he has done it already, but we still need him for that boost. Wide receiver DeMarco Baskerville is in his top 3, and we're getting no challenge from anybody, so we're probably going to get him. But the real story here is Billy Davis has dropped down to 2nd place behind Michigan, so we're really hoping that week 4 visit he's going to be on with Clifton is going to help him out, because we really need it to, and thankfully Michigan didn't have him commit yet, so we still got a chance. And then we got John Harris in his top 3 as well. He's going to be on a week 6 visit with Jameel Maddox and George Fattencoon, and they'll all be boosting each other up, so hopefully that can help out, but that's a couple of weeks away. Both of our Heisman candidates have been taken off of the Heisman Trophy list after the bye week, and if that weren't enough, we have to face the guy who's in the top spot right now with Notre Dame's quarterback Freddie Gunn, and you can see he's got those 12 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, so not going to be an easy feat here. Our first home game of the season is a huge one as we take on the number 2 ranked team Notre Dame Fighting Irish with their 97 team overall, and they have a 4-0 record to start this year. And for the Peteytown Piranhas, we got our recruits coming in, and it's a second straight 1 versus 2 matchup for us. And the slant is going to work out for us, and 2 Notre Dame defenders cannot deny Max Mechie on that touchdown, as we're going to take the 7-0 lead. And the bubble screen is going to go out to Max Mechie, and Max is in the end zone again for the Piranhas, as it's going to be 14-0. And that is going to be a sensational interception downfield by Jose Homer, their quarterback, trying that one on the run, and Jose was all over it. And it's going to be the slant, and guess who? It's going to be Max Mechie in the end zone again for the Piranhas as we go up 21-0. And here's a sack for the Piranhas, Ty Daly with that nice hit stick on their quarterback. Steven Fattencoon is going to get free, and Steven is in the end zone as he's the first Piranha not named Max Mechie to get into the end zone today. Trying to get on the board here. Notre Dame's going to attempt a 50-yard field goal with their kicker, and they're going to put it up, and it is going to go through as it's going to be 28-3, and we've had this exact score in all of our games so far, so that's pretty fun, I guess. Offense does a nice job to put it in position for an end-to-half field goal for Markel Komar, and Markel is going to put it through that left upright to make it 31-3. And getting in there for the sack, it's going to be our guy, I think it's Ed Henderson. Yeah, Ed Henderson getting in for that sack. And this is going to be Cordell Canaday getting free on a little vert play, and Cordell is going to get into the end zone with a big play of his own, and it's going to be a nice lead for the Piranhas at 38-3. And we're going to get a sack here. A nice job by Cesar Juravicius chasing down their guy as he was doing a little play-action boot. And Alex Keener going to keep this one himself, and Alex is going to score that touchdown to make it 42-3 Piranhas, or 45-3, excuse me. The Peteytown Piranhas get the 45-6 victory over Notre Dame, and we've had some pretty good success against Heisman Trophy candidates in the past, and this game was no different, as our guys really handled their business well. Our offense put forth a 515-yard effort, while Notre Dame had 206. They had 43 yards on the ground, and we had 123 and a touchdown. For the passing yards, they had 163, and we had 392. Then on third down, they were 3 for 11, and we were 7 for 9. On the turnovers, just one today by Notre Dame. Alex Keener with another great performance as he had 392 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. Then for our running game, Tyler Cutler got 11 for 69, nice, and Alex Keener got 5 for 29 and a touchdown. Then for receiving, big days here, you got Max Mechie with 8 for 159 and 3 touchdowns, Cordell Canaday with 3 for 78 and a touchdown, and Steven Fattencoon 9 for 69, nice, and a touchdown. We were led in tackles today by a couple of backups with Gil Reynaud and Charlie Sternberger both getting 6. And then for sacks, we got 1 each for Cesar Juravicius, Dom Moffitt, Ty Daly, Marquez Smith, and Ed Henderson. And then Jose Homer got our interception on the day. And then for kicking, Markel Komar hit his only field goal today, a 46-yarder. We have more commitments after that win over Notre Dame with wide receiver DeMarco Baskerville joining us. And then we got another handshake from strong safety Billy Davis, so we were able to come back in that battle nicely. Another commit with John Harris, another strong safety, so shoring up that position. More guys in their top 3 now as Jamil Maddox has a slight lead over Clemson. Then you got cornerback George Fattencoon in a very tight battle with Miami here, and he's got back-to-back visits, so we're hoping that our visit can really boost him over Miami. Then you got quarterback Christian Shelley in a nice lead over Notre Dame, who we just took down. And you got Adrian Crumpler, and not looking as good here as he's got a losing battle here against Miami at the moment, but we're hoping that he sticks around for the visit with Christian Shelley. And for the rest of the guys, we got Taylor Machado, just absolutely huge lead over Maryland. Then left guard Ben Casey, another slight lead here with Penn State on our tail. And then the rest of the guys are in their top 5, and we have visits for everybody else, and they're all kind of mixing and matching and giving each other boosts. So feeling pretty good, just really kind of eyeing this one with Adrian Crumpler to see if we can stay in the battle. Despite a pretty subpar showing from Freddie Gunn for Notre Dame, he's still at the top spot here after facing us, and we have Alex Keener back in the fold in 4th. After we pass the test of those 3 ranked games to start the year, we're going to open Big Ten play against Northwestern with their 74 team overall and 2-1 record. And that is going to be Max Mechie off of the RPO action getting into the end zone as he continues his flurry of touchdowns, and it's going to be 7-0 Piranhas. Tyler Cutler going up the middle, and they are going to give him that forward progress over the goal line into the end zone for Tyler, and it's going to be 14-0 Piranhas. And that is going to be intercepted by the Piranhas. Sinaloa Drake is going to grab it and return it to their 6-yard line. What a play by Sinaloa, just sitting in coverage there and picking that one off. And to the outside, one play later after that interception, the ball is going to be in the hands of Steven Fattencoon for the touchdown, and we're up 21-0. And their quarterback is getting chased down by Brian Stitzer, who brings him down for the sack. And Tyler Cutler getting the great blocks there, and he is going to walk into the end zone as we are going to go up 28-0 on Northwestern right before the end of the first quarter. And it's going to be a sack for the Piranhas again as our guy, looks like John Calloway, gets back there. And it's going to be Cordell Canaday making that play, and he's going to squeeze through those defenders to get into the end zone as the Piranhas go up 35-0. And downfield, it's going to be another interception for Jose Homer this season as he's going to get it across the 50 to the 37-yard line of Northwestern. And immediately, Alex Keener sees that Cordell Canaday got open on that post, and it's going to be another touchdown for Cordell and another touchdown for the Piranhas as we go up 42-0. And a blitz from the Piranhas. It's a safety blitz as Derek Sims gets in there. A sack here for the Piranhas, back-to-back ones as Ty Daly gets in there along with John Calloway. And it's going to be Steven Fattencoon. He had an outside route there, and he was able to get around their defender, and Steven's got the long touchdown to make it 49-0. And Cordell Canaday is going to have his third touchdown of the game, and it's going to be a big 56-0 lead for the Piranhas. And the play action is not going to work out for him here as Ty Daly gets in for our 5th sack of the game. And Tyler Cutler is going to explode out of there, and Tyler is in the end zone for the Piranhas to make it 63-0. Northwestern eventually scored in this game, but it was far too late as we had a 70-7 victory over them, just clicking on all cylinders on offense, the defense doing their thing, and we keep on moving on. This time we do outgain our opponent by over 400 yards as we get 570 to their 166. On the ground we had 174 and 3 touchdowns. Northwestern had 29. For passing we had 396 and they had 137. For third down we were perfect on 7 for 7. They were 2 for 11. And for turnovers we didn't have any and we forced 2. Alex Keener just keeps on putting up numbers as he had 334 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. And then you had our guy Stanley Turner getting 62 yards and a touchdown toss of his own. Then for rushing, we had 13 carries, 103 yards, and 3 scores from Tyler Cutler, and Alex Keener chipped in 3 for 45. On the receiving end, we had Cordell Canaday going off. He had 7 catches, 120 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Then you got Steven Fattencoon, 8 for 97 and 2 touchdowns. Max Mechie, 6 for 60 and a touchdown. Then Monty Bloom, 4 for 50. And we got Dwayne Woodhead with the backups getting a 19-yard touchdown catch. Ben Incognito and Charlie Sternberger both had 7 tackles, with Ben getting 2 tackles for a loss. Then for sacks, we had 1.5 from John Calloway and Ty Daly, and 1 each for Brian Stitzer and Derek Sims, along with half a sack by DeJuan Aikman. And then on interceptions, we got 1 from Jose Homer and another from Sinaloa Drake. In our recruiting, we got a commitment from halfback Taylor Machado, a 4-star. And then joining our guy is going to be quarterback Christian Shelley, a huge get for us with the 5-star quarterback. Cordell Canada's efforts were rewarded with a Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. We have a nice lead over Clemson for Jameel Maddox now, and we're hoping this visit can override his Week 7 visit after we have him. And joining him on that visit will be George Fatton-Coon, and we're hoping that we can outlast Miami here in this recruiting battle. Then you got Adrian Crumpler, who's behind Miami, so need all we can get to get Adrian over the hump over Miami, but we'll see what happens. And you got Zach Kearns, who's fallen below Michigan here, and we're hoping that our visit can overtake them, but might force a recruiting battle. We'll have to see. Then you got Cortez Spoon, another Week 6 visit guy in his top 5. Then you got Ben Casey, another recruiting battle situation, trying to win this one over Penn State. And with him on the visit is going to be Cam Beauplan, who's in the top 3 here, trying to hold off North Carolina. Then you got a power rusher athlete, Duke Shelley. We got a nice little lead over Baylor in a Week 7 visit, so feeling pretty good about this. Then you got Nick Session, another Week 7 visit guy, and he's a top 5, and we got him over Penn State at the moment. Then Glenn Pierschabacher, he's in his top 5. And, of course, Alex Hurtado at the end here. He's in his top 5, but just previewing the guys in a Week 7 visit situation. Alex Keener was able to pass Freddie Gunn in the Heisman Trophy race, but Oregon still has their quarterback above us with Oscar Philbin. It's time to take the field at the Piranha Tank against the Michigan State Spartans with their 2-3 record on the year with an 86 team overall, and we all know the recruiting implications of this one, so hopefully our boys can focus in and take care of business here. And that is going to be held on to securely in the end zone by Max Mechie. Great hands on that one in traffic. And it's going to be 7-0 Piranhas on a nice first drive. And it's going to be Cordell Canada coming across the formation to get himself free. And it's going to be a nice 14-0 lead for the Piranhas. And we're going to cut that pass off on the interception, and it is a free lane into the end zone for Philip Gayton. Just a fantastic play and coverage by him. We were bringing some pressure to the quarterback, and he kind of panicked and released that one right into the hands of Philip to make it 21-0. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. That's going to be counted, and it's going to be Ty Daly getting in on that one with others. It'll be a 61-yard field goal attempt here for Markel Komar, launching it from the logo, and it is going to be good. So he's got one of those 60-plus yarders that he was struggling with earlier this year, and it's going to be 24-0 Piranhas. And the pop pass is going to work out here as Stephen Fatton-Coon shows his moves on that juke to get into the end zone and makes it 31-0. Good execution by the offense puts us in a position for Markel Komar to kick a field goal before the end of the half. And Markel will put this one through to make it 34-0. And Ty Daly's going to fight through 2 guys to get back there for the sack, and he's got the forced fumble that's picked up by John Calloway. And Tyler Cutler getting the blocks he needs, and he fights through to get into the end zone, and the Piranhas will go up 41-0. And that is going to be an interception here. Alex Keener throwing that one wild. I don't know where that was supposed to go, but it is what it is. And we're going to have an interception right back here as he tries to throw into a crowd. And it's going to be Jose Homer getting another one. And another interception as Alex Keener throws an ill-advised pass. That post was covered up by a couple of Michigan State Spartans, and that'll be his second pick of the day. And a sack here for the defense as John Calloway gets in there. And Tyler Cutler running down the sideline. Is anybody going to be able to get the angle on him? No, they will not, as Tyler Cutler with a big run there to make it 49-0 or 48-0 Piranhas. The Piranhas get their first shutout of the season as we get the 55-0 win over Michigan State. Alex Keener with a couple of picks, but did not affect us in the long run as we were able to dominate this game for the rest of it, for pretty much every other aspect of it. The Piranhas had 519 yards, and we kept them under 100 as they got 83. And then they had 4 rushing yards, and we had 243 and 3 touchdowns. For passing, they had 79, and we had 276. They were 3 of 12 on third down, and we were 12 for 14. And for turnovers, they had 4, and we had 2. After some really good games, Alex Keener came back down to earth with 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and he was not sacked. Then for our running game, Tyler Cutler was a big star here. He had 12 carries, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Alex Keener, 6 for 61. And our guy Stanley Turner getting 4 for 21 and a touchdown. Then on the receiving end, you got Stephen Fattenkuhn. He had 10 for 95 and a touchdown. Then our guy Max Mechie, 6 for 50 and a touchdown. And down here, you got Cordell Canady, 3 for 22 and a touchdown. Ben Incognito with 7 tackles and 2 for a loss. And then for sacks, we had 1.5 from Ty Daly, 1 for Dom Moffitt, and half a sack each for John Calloway, Ed Henderson, and Sammy Middlebrooks. And then for interceptions, we got 1 with Vince Lawrence and another with Philip Gayton that he returned 27 yards for a touchdown, and another with Jose Homer. And then we have over here a forced fumble by Ty Daly, and it was picked up by John Calloway. Then for kicking, Markel Komar. He hit both of his field goals today with a long of 61. It was a successful visit week as we got our will linebacker Jameel Maddox to commit a 5-star. And then joining Jameel is going to be quarterback George Fattenkuhn, another 5-star. And another handshake with free safety Zach Kearns, a 4-star. And another commitment with left guard Ben Casey. And we have our guy left tackle Cam Beauplan. Philip Gayton was rewarded with Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. We got a decent boost for Adrian Crumpler from that visit, but it was not enough to take over Miami, so it is what it is there. Then we got Cortez Spoon, who got a nice boost from the visit, and Washington is way behind us now. Then you got Duke Shelley in his top 3 in a Week 7 visit this week, and joining him on that will be Nick Session, who's got a very tight battle going here. Then you got Glenn Pierschbacher in his top 5 on that Week 7 visit, and it's going to be Alex Hurtado bringing up the rear here at the bottom of the list, but he is a 5-star, so definitely a guy that we still want. Just with the way I was ordering things, this is where he went, but Michigan is trying to take him away from us, and we're trying to prevent that. After the 2-interception performance, Alex Keener was dropped down to number 5 in the Heisman Trophy race, but he's still on the list, so he's still got a chance here. 2 undefeated teams collide here as the Michigan Wolverines come to the Piranha Tank to do battle with us, and they have a 99 team overall, and of course it's a game of the week with number 1 versus number 4. And we're going to get the first play of the game out to Cordell Canady, and he has beaten them to the end zone. What an explosive start for the Peteytown Piranhas on that Verts play, as it's going to be 7-0 after just 11 seconds into this game. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. It's going to be the combo of John Calloway and Ty Daly. Deep shot here, Alex Keener. We got Cordell Canady open again, and it's going to be another touchdown for Cordell in this offense. Beautiful toss from Alex Keener as well, and it's going to be 14-0 Piranhas. Just a couple of explosive plays doing good for us. And a Brian Stitzer sack here with the help of John Calloway for our defense. And to the outside, it's going to be Jermaine Kuma making that catch, and that defender was trailing him, but we were able to put that ball over him into the hands of Jermaine to get into the end zone. Alex Keener just dealing out there, and it's 21-0 Piranhas. And Brian Stitzer is going to get involved with another sack here, as that's going to be an 8-yard loss for Michigan. And that's going to be intercepted by Michigan, just undercut that one, trying to hit the seam, and they're going to have it at our 34-yard line. To the outside, and that's going to be intercepted right back by the Piranhas, and we're going to get a return out of this with Tayshawn Whipple as he goes down the sideline with a juke, and we're going to have it at their 43-yard line. Nice job by the defense picking up our QB. And Stephen Fattencoon is going to get away from the defender just enough to get into the end zone, and that's going to make it 28-0 Piranhas. Michigan in scoring position, trying to get a field goal on the board, and their kicker is going to put it through to make it 28-3. And we're going to make it 3 touchdowns on the day for Cordell Canady as he gets in for a short one this time, and it's going to be 35-3 Piranhas. And trying to hit his man, that's going to be undercut by Ben Incognito, who has a little boost of acceleration, and that's going to allow him to get around the offensive lineman and into the end zone. Ben Incognito with a very flashy play there, and it's going to be 42-3 Piranhas. And Stephen Fattencoon getting into the end zone again for the Piranhas. A bunch of Michigan players just trying to follow him on that one, but can't keep up. And it's going to be 49-3 Piranhas. The Piranhas get themselves a 50-point victory here over Michigan as we finish them off 63-13. Just the offense looking very explosive, the defense doing their thing as well to make this victory. Our Piranhas had 484 yards while Michigan had 283. They had 9 yards rushing and we had 138 and a touchdown. For passing, they had 274 and we had 346. For third down, they were 6 for 15. We were 6 for 9. Nice. And for turnovers, they had 4 and we had 1. Alex Keener had 313 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and he was not sacked. Then in our running game, Tyler Cutler had 9 for 79, and Bobby Grubb had 4 for 63 and a touchdown. For receiving, big day here for Cordell Canady, 9 for 176 and 3 touchdowns. Stephen Fattencoon, 10 for 94 and 2 touchdowns, and a 4-yard touchdown catch from Jermaine Kuma. Vince Lawrence had 7 tackles today while he was out there with the backups, and then for sacks we had 1.5 from Brian Stitzer and 1 each for John Callaway and Marquez Smith, and then for Ty Daly he had half a sack. Then interceptions, we had 1 from Ben Incognito. He returned it 42 yards for a touchdown. Then for Dom Moffitt, he got 1. And Bobby Goff got our other pick 6 of the day. He got it with the backups, and it was a 38-yarder. And then Tayshawn Whipple had 1 as well. And then for kicking, Markel Komar, he missed his only attempt of the day. We got left guard Cortez Spoon to join the ranks of our offensive line. And then following Cortez will be Edge Duke Shelley, the athlete rusher. He's a 5-star, of course. And then we got another commitment with linebacker Nick Session, another 5-star. And another commitment coming in with defensive tackle Glenn Pierschbacher. He's a 4-star guy and a guy we'd love to have. And we got another commitment here, wide receiver 5-star Alex Hurtado. And that'll be it for our commitments this week. Ben Incognito got the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Ben was also the National Defensive Player of the Week. One of the guys who did not commit to us this week was Adrian Crumpler, and he decided to go to Miami, so the visit wasn't quite enough to convince him, but we've signed everybody else who was on our board. The volatility for Alex Keener continues in this Heisman Trophy race as he goes from number 5 to number 2, right behind Oscar Philbin. Next up for the Piranhas is the UCLA Bruins, and they got the 89 team overall and 5-2 record this year. And over the top, it's going to be Cordell Canaday breaking free to the end zone. So we start this game exactly how we started against Michigan, with a long bomb to Cordell Canaday to make it 7-0 with just 10 seconds into the game. And here's a sack from Brian Stitzer as he charges in there. And that's going to be taken away by UCLA. Thought we might have had another deep one there, but that safety made it just an incredible play to get over to that one. And they're going to return it out to the 29. And that is a bad pass from their quarterback, and that's going to go into the arms of Derek Sims. So we're trading interceptions now. And Stephen Fattencoon is going to charge his way into the end zone for the Piranhas as we take the 14-0 lead. And that's going to count as a sack, I believe, for the Piranhas as Ty Daly charges in. Markel Komar will come on for a 49-yard field goal attempt here, and Markel is going to send this one up, and it is going to be through for the Piranhas to make it 17-0. And we're going to get a sack here. Ty Daly chasing him down for that one. Field goal attempt here for UCLA after that Ty Daly sack. And their kicker is going to put it up and put it through. And they got some points on the board to make it 17-3. Alex Keener going right up the middle and trucking nobody, but getting into the end zone all the same. And the Piranhas will extend it to 24-3. And Tyler Cutler has a clear lane into the end zone. Nice job by the O-line and our guy Shakir Ferris at fullback. And Tyler does the rest to make it 31-3. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. Ty Daly leading the charge with some other Piranhas joining the fray. And trying a deep ball, and that's not a good idea when Jose Homer is back there, as he's going to return this one all the way back to the 46. Nice job by Jose, as he's done all year. And Cordell Canaday will take the post into the end zone as the Piranhas go up 38-3. The Piranhas deliver a dominant blow to UCLA, 45-3, as we had all our things working in this game, and the Piranhas just keep looking really, really good this year. Offensively, the Piranhas had 539 yards, while UCLA had 168. They had 10 yards rushing, while we had 106 and 2 touchdowns. For passing, they had 158. We had 433. Third down, they were 7 for 17, and we were 3 for 6. Turnovers, they had 2, and we had 1. Alex Keener with a fine performance today with 372 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the 1 interception. And it's one of those where I give credit to that defender for ranging over to make a great play. And for sacks, he was not sacked. And then our guy Stanley Turner, 61 yards and a touchdown toss. For rushing, we had 9 for 56 and a touchdown from Tyler Cutler. David Rawlings had 5 for 40, and Alex Keener 2 for 10 and a touchdown. Then for receiving, Cordell Canaday, another big day for him as he had 7 catches, 155 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Max Mechie 6 for 68, Tyler Cutler 3 for 65. And then we go down to Stephen Fattencoon. He had 5 for 34 and a touchdown. And then we had a 12-yard touchdown catch from David Rawlings. Brian Stitzer was making all sorts of plays today as he had 9 tackles and 4 for a loss, including a sack. And then for other sacks, we got 2.5 from Ty Daly, half a sack for John Callaway and Ed Henderson. Then for interceptions, we got 1 from Jose Homer and another from Derek Sims. For field goals, we had Markel Komar hitting his only attempt today for 49 yards. Last year's Heisman Trophy winner Nate Duck has claimed the top spot as his own here, and Alex Keener dropped down to number 3, but Cordell Canaday has found himself on the list again after falling off earlier in the season. We have another battle of the unbeatens as we take on the 6-0 Penn State Nittany Lions with their number 3 ranking and 94 team overall. And there's a fumble on the first play of the game, and it's going to be scooped up by Philip Gayton, and Philip has a fumble 6 to open this one up. The last 3 weeks, the Piranhas have scored just so quickly, and this time it's going to be on defense, and Brian Stitzer was the one who forced it loose. And that is going to be intercepted deep downfield by Jose Homer. We got some pressure up in the middle on that quarterback. Still got a good toss out there, but it was right into the hands of Jose. And Tyler Cutler running down the numbers. Is anybody going to catch Tyler? No, they will not, and it's an explosive play on offense for the Peteytown Piranhas. Tyler Cutler off that read option. It was given to him on the read by Alex Keener, and we're going to make it 14-0. And Tyler Cutler is going to get another touchdown here as he stiff arms that man while he crosses the line. And Tyler Cutler is going to make it 21-0 Piranhas. Brian Stitzer is going to get back there, and this time it'll be for a sack. So he's got that forced fumble earlier, and now the sack here as he's just tormenting this quarterback. And back-to-back sacks for the Piranhas. This time it's going to be Ed Henderson getting back there. And Stephen Fattencoon will fight his way into the end zone, and it's going to be 28-0 Piranhas in the first quarter. Penn State finally keeps us out of the end zone, but just barely as we're on the 1-yard line, and Markel Komar is going to take that angle and make it use of it, and it's going to be 31-0 Piranhas. And that is a fire strike from our guy Alex Keener into the hands of Cordell Canaday, and it's going to be a 38-0 lead for the Piranhas. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. Ty Daly getting back there for our third of the first half. And Cordell Canaday on the bubble screen is going to get in here for his second of the day. And the Piranhas will go up 45-0. Brian Stitzer with another forced fumble in this one, and it's going to be picked up by Sammy Middlebrooks, and Sammy's got a touchdown. Brian Stitzer with his second forced fumble of the day. That leads to a fumble 6, and that'll make it 52-0 Piranhas. The Piranhas come in here to Happy Valley and just absolutely dominated Penn State to the tune of 66-3. Just all facets of the game in this one working for the Piranhas. The numbers show the dominance that was here, as the Piranhas had 451 yards to Penn State's 98. On the ground, we had 154 and 4 touchdowns. They had 9. For passing, we had 297. They had 89. For third down, we were 6 for 8. They were 1 for 10. And turnovers, we kept it clean and we forced 4. Alex Keener doing his thing out there with 241 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. Then for rushing, Tyler Cutler really shined. He had 14 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We had 2 touchdown runs as well, with Bobby Grubb and David Rawlings getting those. And then for receiving, Cordell Canaday had 8 for 85 and 2 touchdowns. Max Mechie, 7 for 84. Stephen Fattencoon, 6 for 44 and 1 touchdown. Ben Incognito and Vince Lawrence led us with 6 tackles apiece, with Ben getting 4 for a loss. For sacks, Brian Stitzer had 2.5 and a dominant performance. Then you had 1 from Antoine Willett and Ed Henderson to go with half a sack by Ty Daly. Then interceptions, we got 1 from Vince Lawrence and another from Jose Homer. And then scrolling over here, some big impact plays. Brian Stitzer with 2 forced fumbles, and those were both picked up for fumble 6s, one by Sammy Middlebrooks and another by Philip Gayton. And then for our field goal kicking, Markel Komar hit his only field goal of the day. It was a short 18-yarder. Not surprised at all to see Brian Stitzer being the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. After we had a bye week, Nate Duck is still on top here for the Heisman Trophy, and Alex Keener was dropped down to 4th, and Cordell Canaday was taken off of the list. Off of our bye week, it's time to take on the Indiana Hoosiers with their 3-5 record and 71 team overall. And here we go with the defense getting a sack here, a 6-yard loss on the play with John Callaway leading the charge. And that is Stephen Fattencoon with a sensational catch on that one, catching that in traffic, breaking off the tackle, and getting into the end zone as the Piranhas are up 7-0. And the sack is going to make a forced fumble there. It's going to be John Callaway forcing it loose, but Indiana is able to pick it up. And that is going to be a wide open touchdown for Indiana. They just fooled our coverage on that one, and Indiana has tied it up. And it's going to be Tyler Cutler pushing the pile forward and getting into the end zone for the Piranhas as we go back up 14-7. Cordell Canaday is going to get open here, and Cordell is in the end zone for the Piranhas as we take the 2-score lead at 21-7. And a sack here. It's going to be our guy, looks like Antoine Willett, I believe, bringing him down for that sack. And Tyler Cutler off the screen is going to get the blocks he needs to get into the end zone. Nicely developed and set up by the Piranhas. And it's going to be 28-7. And that's going to be an interception for Indiana, trying to hit the bubble screen, and they're going to return that for a pick six. Alex Keener just fooled on that one, I guess, and Indiana's guy just came charging in, grabbed that interception, and brought it back to make it 28-14. And Alex Keener, trying to get away from the pressure, instead is going to get sacked by the Indiana Hoosiers, setting up what could be a long field goal attempt for Markel Komar. After that big loss on the sack, it's a 57-yard field goal attempt for Markel Komar, and Markel is going to send this one, and he is still going to put it through for us to make it a 31-14 game. Alex Keener taking this one right up the middle, and Alex has a rushing touchdown to give us a little more separation, as it's going to be 38-14. And sack here by John Callaway, our fourth on the game. Alex Keener taking this one, and it's going to be another rushing touchdown for Alex, as he's going to make it 45-14. Well, Indiana was able to keep it somewhat close in that first quarter, but then we just blew it wide open, especially with the backups, to get this 73-14 victory over Indiana. Our Piranhas were able to put up 615 yards of offense, while Indiana had 185. On the ground, they had 36, and we had 141 and 5 touchdowns. Then for the passing game, they had 149. We had 474. For third down, they were 5 for 17. We were 3 for 5. And turnovers, they had 2 and we had 1. Alex Keener was pretty good today outside of one throw where he had 377 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the pick six where just wish he would have gone somewhere else instead of that bubble route, but it is what it is. Then he was sacked once. And then we got our rushing game with Tyler Cutler at 14 for 70 and a touchdown. Bobby Grubb, 3 for 35 and a touchdown. Alex Keener, 7 for 31 and 2 touchdowns. And Tony Everett with a 5-yard touchdown carry. And in receiving, Stephen Fattencoon was really good today. 10 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Cordell Canaday with 8 for 88 and a touchdown. Frank Kenoy had 2 catches for 81 yards, and both of those catches went for touchdowns. Then you had Max Mechie contributing 4 for 51. Then down here you had Tyler Cutler, 3 for 17 and a touchdown. 3 guys with 6 tackles today is John Callaway, Jose Homer, and Ben Incognito got those. And we got 1 TFL for Jose and 3 for John Callaway. And John also had 2.5 sacks. Then we got 2 from Antoine Willett, 1.5 for Marquez Smith, one for Brian Castellanos, and half a sack for Ed Henderson and JP Bridges. And 2 of our interceptions were by Jordan Iowama. And then we got a forced fumble as well over here. That was John Callaway, but we did not recover it. And then for our kicking game, we had 1 field goal attempt for Markel Komar. He hit it for a 57-yarder. A couple of weeks ago, I added tight end Philip Van Gupo to our recruiting board, and I wanted to see how the battle went, and we can see that it's going pretty well as we're in first place and in his top 3. LSU had a Week 11 visit with him last week, and it did not go well for them, which is good for us. So we just got to worry about Maryland, really, but still can't count out LSU at this point. But we'll see what happens here, and just to point out what he brings to the table, he's got 87 speed and 87 acceleration, and 84 catching, so a guy with a skill set we'd really like to have. Alex Keener was able to move up a spot to 3rd place in the Heisman Trophy list, but it's still probably Nate Duck's trophy to lose again. We're now going to travel to Wisconsin to take on the Badgers with their 79 overall and 5-5 record. And Cordell Canady is going to take this post, and he's going to get around the defenders, down the numbers into the end zone, and Cordell's going to open up the scoring on a nice touchdown toss from Alex Keener to make it 7-0. And Stephen Fattencoon has gotten around him, and he is into the end zone to make it 14-0 Piranhas. And Wisconsin's guy is going to get the scramble in for the touchdown. Sammy Middlebrooks doing all he can to get to him, but their quarterback is going to make the play to make it 14-7. And Tyler Cutler getting around the edge. That's sealed off nicely by the O-line and Shakir Ferris. And the Peteytown Piranhas will retake their 2-score lead at 21-7. And Brian Stitzer's closing in on him for the sack, along with John Callaway. And that is a wonderful catch by Max Mechie in the end zone. He had to basically catch that over their defender, but he's able to make it, and Max Mechie has himself a nice highlight there to make it 28-7. And their guy is going to fight through the traffic there to get into the end zone. Nice read by the quarterback on that option play. And it's going to be 28-14. And we're going to get a strike from Alex Keener into the hands of Stephen Fattencoon. And we're going to reestablish a 3-score lead at 35-14. And trying to play action down the field play, and guess who's there but Jose Homer, and Jose's running down the sideline, finally stopped at the 34-yard line. What a nice play from Jose. And to the outside, it's going to be Stephen Fattencoon again, and he's going to stay in bounds and get into the end zone, and it's going to be 42-14 Piranhas right before the end of the first half. And we're going to step in front of that one. Tayshawn Whipple getting it. And does he have a lane to the end zone? He does, as he creates one for himself with his speed. And Tayshawn has that pick 6 to make it 49-14. And Tyler Cutler is out of there. Nice downfield blocking by Cordell Canady to spring him loose, and Tyler took care of the rest with his speed, and the Piranhas are going to be up 56-14. And here's John Callaway with a sack from behind on their quarterback. And Alex Keener taking this one up the middle, and Alex Keener has a rushing touchdown. Nice little gash from him, and it's going to be 63-14 Piranhas. An absolute shellacking here by the Peteytown Piranhas as we get this road win of 73-17 over Wisconsin. Just great job by the offense. Defense let up a few yards, but we'll forgive them for that in this blowout victory. The Piranhas had 591 yards to Wisconsin's 315. Then for the ground game, we had 264 and 4 touchdowns. They had 27 and 2 touchdowns. For passing, we had 327. They had 288. On third down, we were 6 for 7. They were 5 for 13. And for turnovers, we didn't have any, and we forced 3. Alex Keener was on point today as he had 312 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. Then for the running game, we had Tyler Cutler at 5 for 99 and 2 touchdowns, Bobby Grubb 9 for 81 and a touchdown, and Alex Keener getting the job done here as well with 5 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Then for our receiving game, Cordell Canady, he had 4 for 81 and a touchdown, Max Mechie 3 for 78 and a touchdown, and Stephen Fattencoon 8 for 74 and 3 touchdowns. Ben Incognito was flying around out there with 13 tackles and 2 for a loss. And then for sacks, we had 1 each for Vince Lawrence, John Callaway, Nick Granson, and Marquez Smith. Then we had half a sack for Brian Stitzer and Antoine Willett. For interceptions, we had 1 from Vince Lawrence, another from Tayshawn Whipple, and Tayshawn returned his 49 yards for a touchdown. And we got another one with Jose Homer. And then for our kicking game, Markel Comer hit his only attempt. It was a 27-yarder. With his all-around great day, Alex Keener was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Our last conference game of the regular season will be against Purdue as we travel to them with their 4-6 record and 77 team overall. And first play of the game from scrimmage is going to be a sack by Ty Daly. And out to Stephen Fattencoon, who hauls it in for the touchdown to open up the scoring at 7-0. And a Brian Stitzer sack is here as we get a 6-yard loss on that one. The bubble screen is thrown out to Cordell Canady, and their guy had a beat on it, but not in time as Cordell will get into the end zone, and it'll be 14-0 Piranhas. And the quarterback is going to get sacked here with a forced fumble attached, but they are going to recover it. Ty Daly, the one forcing it out. And we got a guy open in the end zone, and that's going to be Sua Tautu, who blew by the defender. They try to make up for it, but just not in time, as Sua's going to make it 21-0 Piranhas. And we're going to get a sack here. Our guy Ed Henderson had a beat before he went to the running back, but we still got the sack anyway. And we're going to hit Cordell Canady, who has beaten 2 defenders, and Cordell is going to have another one today on a long one this time, and it's going to be our Piranhas up 28-0. And that's going to be jumped beautifully by Jose Homer, and nobody's going to catch Jose as he gets into the end zone. What a play by him, just jumping that route beautifully to make it 35-0 Piranhas. And Stephen Fattencoon is going to get loose for his second touchdown of the day for the Piranhas as we make it 42-0. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. We brought that blitz, and I thought the linebacker on the other side was going to get through, but it was Gil Reynaud who got there. And Stephen Fattencoon is going to have the speed to get around that defender for his third touchdown of the day. Nice effort there by Stephen, and a nice little notice by Alex Keener that he was breaking free on his route and getting it to him early. And the Piranhas are going to make it 49-0. The Piranhas have basically a flawless game here against the Purdue Boilermakers as we get the 54-0 victory, and Alex Keener, you can see, putting up some nice numbers, and the team just doing well heading into our final regular season game. The Piranhas had 479 yards to 152 by Purdue. On the ground, we had 121 and they had 11. Through the air, we had 358 and they had 141. On third down, we were 3 for 7, they were 3 for 12. And turnovers, we didn't have any, and we forced 1. Alex Keener was almost perfect today as he had 304 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked, and he had 1 incompletion all game. Then for our rushing stats, Alex Keener, he tied with Tyler Cutler with 5 carries and 51 yards, while Tyler Cutler had 9 carries for 51 yards. And then for receiving, Cordell Canaday, he had 5 catches, 112 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Stephen Fattencoon, 10 for 86, and 3 touchdowns. Frank Kenoy, 3 for 40, and a 32-yard touchdown grab by Sua Tautu. Jose Homer was active today with 7 tackles, and then for sacks, we had 2 from Ty Daly, 1.5 from Brian Castellanos, 1 each for Gil Reynaud and Brian Stitzer, then half a sack each for Vince Lawrence, John Callaway, Antoine Willett, Ed Henderson, and Manuel DeLuca. Then Jose Homer had our only interception today, and he returned that 39 yards for a touchdown. And then we had a forced fumble from our guy Ty Daly, but it wasn't recovered. And then in the kicking game, Markel Komar, he hit his only attempt today, and it was a 54-yarder. We ended up getting that commitment from tight end Philip Van Gupo. Jose Homer was your Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. Alex Keener has moved into second place for the Heisman Trophy, and for the first time this year, Stephen Fattencoon is on the list. We're going to end our regular season with a big matchup against number 7 Texas with their 97 team overall and 10-1 record this year. And of course, the Piranhas are going for their 14th straight season without losing a regular season game. And it's going to be Cordell Canaday getting into the end zone for the Piranhas to open up the scoring in this big matchup to make it 7-0. And first play for our defense is going to result in a sack by Brian Stitzer. This time we can't punch it into the end zone, and it's going to be up to Markel Komar to put up some points, and he will do that to make it 10-0. And that is going to be an interception for the Piranhas. They try to hit their man on the sideline, but Jose Homer was all over it. Alex Keener taking this one himself, and he is in the end zone to extend our lead to 17-0. And we're going to get a sack. Ty Daly was able to squeeze through there for another one, and we're going to get them on a 5-yard loss. Texas is going to respond to our touchdown drive with a field goal attempt, and they are going to put that through to get on the board and make it 17-3. And their quarterback is running backwards, and that's not going to be a good idea for him as John Callaway and it looks like Dwayne Aikman get in there. After that big sack, it's going to be a long field goal attempt here for Texas, a 64-yarder. Their kicker gives it his all, and he is going to miss it wide to the left. And he's being chased down, and it's not going to get away from it as Ty Daly closes it on him again. And we're going to get that quick toss out to Cordell Canaday, who breaks free from the defensive back, and Cordell is going to make it 24-3. And we're going to get a sack here. Brian Stitzer fights his way through to bring him down. It'll be a 46-yard field goal attempt now for Texas's kicker, and he's going to send it up, and it is good, and it's going to be 24-6. And to the end zone, 2 Piranhas are there, and we're going to come away with the interception. That's going to be Malik Huval on that one. And we're going to respond very quickly to that interception in the end zone by our defense by getting downfield and hitting Cordell Canaday in that red zone area for the touchdown to extend our lead to 31-6. And they are going to use that stick route, and it looks like maybe it was an option route, couldn't really tell, but either way, they're going to get open for the touchdown to make it 31, maybe they'll go for 2, as it stands, maybe 31-13. Texas gave us our closest game of the year, but we're able to finish off the victory 31-13, and that's going to be 14 straight seasons of undefeated regular season play, and we are going to have that streak be 168 games. Just absolutely incredible consistency from these Piranhas, and just glad we were able to get into the postseason on a high note. The Big Ten Championship will be a rematch from earlier this year as we take on the number 3 Penn State Nittany Lions. Heading into the conference championship week, it looks like Nate Duck should be able to win the Heisman Trophy for the second time, which would be a historic feat. And we got our guy Alex Keener in second place. Maybe he's got something to say about it, but with the stats that Nate's put up, it's really unlikely, I think. We now jump into the Big Ten Championship game against Penn State with their 96 team overall, and we're the only team to have beaten them this year as they went 11-1, and we have our Big Ten Championship game streak on the line as we're trying to win our 13th in a row. And here's a sack for the Piranhas, John Callaway and Ty Daly getting in there. And Cordell Canady is going to take a slant, and nobody was back there to help out, and Cordell is going to get into the end zone to open up the scoring here in the Big Ten Championship. They just packed the box there, and we threw it right over top of them, and Cordell took care of the rest. And he's going to fire it, and Alex Keener has found Cordell Canady for his second touchdown of the day, and the Piranhas are going to go up 14-0. And the double fake is not going to work out as John Callaway gets in for the sack and forces a fumble, but Penn State gets it back. And Penn State's going to get a touchdown here as they had those slants out and they cleared space for their man, and it's going to be 14-7. After Penn State's touchdown drive, we're going to have a field goal drive as Markel Komar comes on to attempt a 30-yarder, and Markel will put it through, and the Piranhas will go back up by 10 to make it 17-7. Actually, we were not up by 10. I don't know why I said that, but it's 17-7. And here's a sack for the Piranhas. Ty Daly using some power there. And off the edge, it's going to be Ed Henderson, and it's going to be cleaned up by John Callaway for the sack. And to the outside, it's going to be Stephen Fattencoon making a nice catch, and the Peteytown Piranhas will go up 24-7. And Penn State's going to knock through that field goal to make it 24-10. And we're going to find Cordell Canady yet again in the end zone. He's having a huge day for us, and Alex Keener keeps finding him, and it's going to be 31-10. And Cordell Canady yet again as Alex Keener fitted in between the zones on the sideline that time, and Cordell is just absolutely destroying them in this one. It's 38-10 Piranhas. And John Callaway is the first to get there, and Ty Daly is the second on that sack. And who else but Cordell Canady? Unbelievable performance from him, and got to give credit to Alex Keener for finding him all this time, but I just am so astounded by this effort from Cordell. Always knew he had the ability for games like this, but watching it unfold has been an absolute pleasure. The Peteytown Piranhas have won their 13th straight Big Ten championship here with a 59-17 victory over Penn State. Just absolutely incredible from the boys, and the last game we really did it with our running game setting the tone. This time around it was the passing game, and Cordell Canady, of course, with an absolutely monstrous game. And you see some of the backups getting some action here on the replay, but just fantastic job by the Piranhas getting to this point. We look forward to a playoff run now, and just absolutely proud and just waiting for us to celebrate with the Big Ten Championship trophy now, and this highlight should be the last thing we see before we celebrate with that trophy, and just very, very happy to see our guys so happy. A bunch of yards going around in this one as we had 557 and Penn State had 324. For the running game, they had 62 and we had 95. In the passing game, they had 262, we had 462. And then for third down, they were 9 for 16, we were 6 for 8. And turnovers, they had 1 and we had 0. Alex Keener with a very simple game plan, find Cordell Canady and let him do his thing, and it worked to tremendous success as he had 388 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was not sacked. Then our guy Stanley Turner had 74 yards and a touchdown. For our running game, Tyler Cutler led us with 8 carries and 57 yards. In the receiving game, just look at these numbers, unbelievable from Cordell Canady. 9 catches, 228 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And then behind him, you had Max Mechie, he had 8 for 96. Then Stephen Fattencoon, 5 for 52 and a touchdown. And we had D'Angelo Warmack getting a 48-yard touchdown with the backups. Ben Incognito led us with 7 tackles and 1 for a loss, and then for sacks we had 2.5 from John Callaway, 2 from Ty Daly, 1 each for Brian Castellanos and J.P. Bridges, and half a sack for Ed Henderson. Then on the interceptions we got a pick 6 for Bobby Goff, he returned it 77 yards. And then we had a forced fumble over here. It was by John Callaway, but we did not recover it. And then for our kicking game, Markel Komar, he hit his only attempt for 30 yards. Bobby Goff was the best defensive player in the Big Ten Championship game. There was no doubt that Cordell Canady was going to be the offensive player of the game for the Big Ten Championship. Rightfully so, Cordell Canady was the best offensive player in all of the conference championships that took place. For the second year in a row, Nate Duck is the Heisman Trophy winner, and he becomes the second player to ever win the Heisman Trophy twice in college football history, so definitely got to acknowledge that history and legend-making performance there for Nate, and you can see his big numbers, and really throughout the season as we saw how the things were unfolding with this race, just became very clear that Nate was going to run away with it. On our side of the awards, Ben Incognito won the Chuck Bednarik Award. John Callaway was your defensive end of the year. For the first time in Peteytown Piranhas history, we have a Fred Biletnikoff Award winner with Cordell Canady. Ben Incognito was also the Bronco Nagurski Trophy Award winner. A tradition unlike any other, with us winning the John Mackey Award again, Stephen Fattencoon bringing it home. We have an Outland Trophy Award winner with Glenn Kell. Jose Homer brought home the Jim Thorpe Award. Ben was also the Dick Butkus Award winner. John Callaway won the Lombardi Award. The Heisman Trophy finalists were Nate Duck, of course, winning the award, and in second place was Alex Keener. In third place was Texas running back Von Peters. Then our guy Cordell Canady found himself on the list after being back and forth all year. And then you got Oscar Philbin from Oregon. On early National Signing Day, we can see that quarterback Christian Shelley is a star dev, so good start there. Then you got Jameel Maddox, the linebacker, at Elite Dev. Then cornerback George Fattencoon is Impact. Athlete Duke Shelley is a star. Will linebacker Nick Session is a star as well. Wide receiver Alex Hurtado is Elite, so very nice to see. Mike linebacker Clifton Shudock is star. Strong safety Billy Davis is star. Guard Cortez Spoon is Elite. Wide receiver DeMarco Baskerville is also Elite, so a couple of elite guys at receiver, which we love. Strong safety John Harris is Normal. Halfback Taylor Machado is Impact. Free safety Zach Kearns is Normal. Left guard Ben Casey Star. Left tackle Cam Beauplan is Impact. Defensive tackle Glenn Pierschbacher is Star. And then tight end Philip Van Gupo is Normal. In the college football playoff, it'll be number 5 Nebraska versus number 12 Louisiana Tech, number 8 Michigan versus number 9 Oklahoma, number 6 Penn State versus number 11 Texas, number 7 Alabama versus number 10 Ohio State. Then we're number 1 seed, Louisville's number 2, Baylor's number 3, and Pitt number 4. So we're waiting to see who wins Michigan versus Oklahoma, and either of those games would be a rematch from earlier this year. To open up our playoff run, we're going to be taking on fellow Big Ten team Michigan with their number 8 seed. Nebraska was able to handle Louisiana Tech in a shootout there. Then Michigan beat Oklahoma by 2 scores to face us. Penn State had a close one that they won against Texas, and Ohio State got the 10-7 upset over Alabama. So that's going to set up Pitt versus Nebraska, us versus Michigan, of course, Baylor versus Penn State, and Louisville versus Ohio State. We got some very unfortunate injury news as defensive tackle Brian Stitzer broke his collarbone during the Big Ten championship game, so we're really going to miss him during a possible deep playoff run as he would not be able to come back to us at all, but hopefully the team can rally and just pick each other up and really do it by committee in his absence. We are headed to Miami for our quarterfinal matchup against the Michigan Wolverines with that 94 team overall. They enter this one 11-2, and a team that we were able to take care of business against earlier this year. They're going to be hungry for some revenge, and we got to hold that off. And Cordell Canada picks up right where he left off from that Big Ten championship a couple of weeks ago to get a touchdown to open up the scoring here in the playoffs. And we are going to get a great interception over the middle. Ben Incognito getting back there for that one and making a very athletic play to get there. And Alex Keener is going to get the blocking he needs. Nice job by everybody at all levels, from the O-line to the receivers, to get him into the end zone. And it's going to be 14-0. And Ty Daly is going to chase him down along with Ed Henderson for that sack. And in the middle of the defense, it's going to be Michigan's defensive lineman dropping back in coverage and picking that one off. Maybe could have used a little more patience from Alex to let the routes develop, but he tried firing it in there and Michigan picked him off. And that is going to be a touchdown for the Piranhas. Stephen Fattencoon fighting his way in for that one. And it's going to be 21-0 Piranhas. From the 1-yard line, it's going to be Markel Komar attempting the field goal. And Markel is going to put it through to make it 24-0. And here's a sack from John Callaway forcing the fumble. And it was just laying there, but their quarterback was able to get it back. And Michigan's running back with a very impressive run there, bobbing and weaving and breaking tackles to put Michigan on the board and make it 24-7. Michigan will actually go for 2 at this point in the game, so we'll see if they can convert as their guy drops back and rolls around, and he is going to get brought down by Antoine Willett. And Stephen Fattencoon is going to get into the end zone again for the Piranhas as the John Mackey Award winner makes his impact felt in this game. It's going to be 31-6 Piranhas. And a sack here for the Piranhas as Gil Reynaud gets back there. Here's a sack for the Piranhas as Ty Daly gets back there. And Michigan's going to have a perfect seam strike there to get into the end zone, and they're going to make it 31-13. Tyler Cutler is going to get loose, and he's going to get into the end zone as the Piranhas get it to 38-13. And stepping in front of that one for the interception is going to be our guy, looks like Derek Sims, and Derek is going to bring it all the way back for a pick 6 and salute the crowd. Another interception for the Piranhas as Jose Homer's the one who gets away with it, and he's going to return it back across the 50-yard line. The Peteytown Piranhas get this quarterfinal victory, 45-13 over Michigan. We were a little more dominant in our previous game against them, but you will still take a 32-point victory any day. A major note from this quarterfinal game against Michigan was that it was our 110th consecutive victory, breaking our previous record of 109 set a few years ago when we were on that run of 6 national championships in a row. We lost in the quarterfinal that year, so this time around we were able to win it and extend the winning streak, so now we have the best and second best winning streaks of all time in college football history, which I think is a remarkable thing. We outgained Michigan 485 to 295, and then on the ground they had 39 yards and a touchdown, and we had 95 and a touchdown. And for passing, they had 256, we had 390. For third down, they were 5 for 12, we were 7 for 10. And turnovers, we had 3 forced, and we had 1 ourselves. Alex Keener with 390 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception, and he was not sacked. And then for rushing, we had 12 carries and 50 yards from Tyler Cutler. Alex Keener had 3 for 34 and a touchdown. For receiving, we had Stephen Fattenkuhn, 15 catches, 143 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Cordell Canada, 10 for 118 and a touchdown. And Tyler Cutler, 4 for 39 and a touchdown. Caesar Juravicius got 9 tackles and 1 for a loss, and then for sacks we had 1.5 from Ty Daly, 1 for Gil Reynaud and John Callaway, and half a sack for Ed Henderson. Then on interceptions we got 1 with Ben Incognito, another with Jose Homer, and Derek Sims got 1 that he returned 44 yards for a touchdown. And then on our forced fumbles we had 1 from John Callaway, but it was not picked up. And then for kicking, Markel Komar, he didn't ask for much here, he just had an 18-yarder that he put through. Derek Sims was recognized as having the best defensive game of anybody in the quarterfinal. And our guy Stephen Fattenkuhn had the best offensive game in the quarterfinal round. Another Big Ten foe awaits us in the playoffs as we got Nebraska with their number 5 seed. We have big news here as longtime defensive coordinator Tyler Ervin has decided to become the head coach at Louisville, so very, very sad to see him go, and we're going to have to find another guy to replace him. Looking at the options for defensive coordinator after our guy left, not very inspiring choices to be honest, but I think I'm going to settle on James Pumphrey. He's a recruiter motivator guy, and for his pipeline, he has Big Apple, which fits in with us well, so going to see if we can get him. Back to the college football playoff after that coaching news, we have Nebraska winning a 1-score game over Pitt, so we're not going to have another rivalry game in the playoffs. Then you got Baylor beating Penn State by 5, and Ohio State taking down Louisville, who just signed our guy, so see if he can get them past that quarterfinal round in the coming years. But for now, it's going to be us versus Nebraska, and Ohio State versus Baylor. The number 5 seed Nebraska Cornhuskers come in with a 96 overall and 12-2 record on the year, and we're going to be traveling to the Rose Bowl for this semifinal. Alex Keener is going to take this one and find the hole through the offensive line, and Alex is going to open up the scoring for this playoff as it's going to be 7-0. And we are going to get an interception off that hit from Tayshawn Whipple, and the ball falls into the hands of Caesar Juravicius, and we're going to be set up at their 27. Alex Keener going right up the middle yet again for another rushing touchdown, and after that interception we cash in to make it 14-0. And here comes a sack for the Piranhas. Nebraska really driving well on this one, but Ty Daly's going to push him back. And their quarterback delivers a strike as we were bearing down on them, and they're able to get the touchdown out of that, and it's going to be 14-7. And Nebraska is going to get a nice play-action play, and they're going to get into the end zone again to tie it up, as it's going to be 14-14. And wide open, they just lost Stephen Fattencoon out there, and that's just not a good idea on defense. And Stephen's going to give us back the lead at 21-14. And Ty Daly is going to get by his blocker and get into the backfield to sack the quarterback. And instead of trying to kick a field goal with a few seconds left in this half, we are going to get a sack, and that's going to cost us a chance at 3. Don't really know why we didn't just kick the field goal there, but it is what it is. And coming off a blitz, it's going to be Malik Huval, and that's going to get him to punt this one away. And there's a sack on the play by Nebraska, and the ball is loose, and they have recovered it, and they're going to be set up on the 43-yard line. What a play by their defense. And there's a fumble on the play, and it is going to be picked up by the Peteytown Piranhas right near midfield. So 2 fumbles on back-to-back possessions for these teams, and we are going to take back over. And the edge is sealed by our offensive line, and Tyler Cutler is going to get into the end zone. So after that sequence of turnovers, it's going to end up with us having a 2-score lead at 28-14. And they are going to get the cutback lane that they need, and Nebraska is going to make it a 1-score game again at 28-21. And that is going to be a touchdown toss to our guy Monty Bloom, the transfer wide receiver. Haven't seen him in the end zone much this year, but he gets a big one here in the fourth quarter of this semifinal game, and it's going to be 35-21. And we are going to get back there for the sack. It took a long time. We only sent 3, but eventually Ty Daly got through. And that's going to be an interception. What a jump on that route by our guy Derek Sims. And we are going to be set up at their 18-yard line. And a touchdown here for Cordell Canada. 3 Nebraska Cornhuskers in the area are not enough to keep Cordell out. And we're going to capitalize on the interception to make it 42-21. Nebraska really gave us a tough game here in the semifinal, and the score is not going to indicate that as we get the 42-21 victory over them, but really just showed our mettle in this one, and we faced some adversity, and we passed the test here as we head into another national championship game, trying to really set the precedent here and break our own record. Congratulations are in order for Alex Keener as he has set the school record in single-season passing touchdowns. Not only was that single-season passing touchdowns record a record for our school, it was also the case for the Big Ten Conference. The Piranhas had 479 yards, Nebraska's 312. On the ground, they had 62 and a touchdown, and we had 157 and 3 touchdowns. For passing, they had 250, and we had 322. They were 1 for 5 on third down, while we were 6 for 8. And for turnovers, they were all really big ones for us. We forced 3, and we had 1 ourselves. Alex Keener really stepping up today when we needed him, as he had 322 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was sacked twice. And on the ground, we had Tyler Cutler going for 14, 77, and a touchdown. Alex Keener, 7 for 46 and 2 touchdowns, giving him 5 total on the day. And then for receiving, Cordell Canada making big plays out there. 10 catches, 171 yards, and a touchdown. Stephen Fattencoon, 9 for 58 and a touchdown. And our guy Monty Bloom, 7 for 43 and a touchdown. 9 tackles today for Ben Incognito and 2 for a loss. And then for sacks, we had 3 from Ty Daly, just a big game from him. 1 from Malik Huval. And then in interceptions, we got the big one with Derek Sims and another with Cesar Juravicius. And probably the play of the game is this forced fumble from Ben Incognito. That really allowed us to separate from them. And it was recovered by Derek Sims, so he was very involved today. It is 3 straight Big Ten teams in the playoffs for us, as we're going to face off against Ohio State in the national championship with their number 10 seed, so they're having themselves quite the run, and it means that we're going to avoid the 2-time Heisman Trophy winner from Baylor. James Pumphrey has accepted our offer to be our new defensive coordinator. Ohio State had to beat Baylor in a shootout here, 47-43. And just looking at how the teams did, you got the Heisman Trophy winner Nate Duck. He put up 381 yards, but they limited him to only a touchdown. And then for the running game, you had Nate getting 2 rushing touchdowns. So still 3 touchdowns on the day for him, but just wasn't enough to take down Ohio State. With all the streaks that we got going for the Peteytown Piranhas, we come to this one now with the national championship as we try to win our 7th in a row, something that has never been done in college football history, even by us. We've only gotten to 6 before, but now we try to surpass ourselves here. On the first possession of this national championship, it'll be a field goal attempt from Markel Komar, and he puts it through to make it 3-0. Antoine Willett chasing him down, and he will not get away from Antoine as he's got that sack. Alex Keener is going to jump over a guy who was on the ground on his way into the end zone, and Alex is going to make it 10-0 Piranhas. Here's a sack for the Piranhas, a forced fumble on that one, but we don't recover it as that's going to be DeJuan Aikman. And Stephen Fattencoon is going to get free on that RPO flat play, and the Peteytown Piranhas are going to extend their lead to 17-0. Lining up for a long field goal here for our guy Markel Komar. And Markel is going to put this one up, and it will be good for the Piranhas, and it'll be 20-0. And we're going to get an interception, and allow Drake getting in the way of that one and returning it to their 31-yard line. Got some nice pressure there too by, it looked like, Ty Daly on it, and we are going to take over. And Stephen Fattencoon getting this one, and he shrugs off a defender in the end zone for the touchdown, and we're going to take advantage of that interception from the defense to go up 27-0. Launching a deep ball, and that is not going to work out as Derek Sims was waiting back there for it for the interception. And that's going to be intercepted in the middle of the defense, and we're going to get a little return out of it from Gil Reynaud, just sitting in a spot and picking that off, and we're going to be right in their red zone. And Stephen Fattencoon getting the crossing route to work out, and we're going to score another touchdown off of that interception from our guy Gil Reynaud, and it'll be 34-0 Piranhas. And he's getting run down by Ty Daly, who's been active today, and he's going to get our 3rd sack of the game. And another sack here, and Antoine Willett and Ty Daly combine for it, and it's fumbled in the end zone. Their guy picks it up, and that's going to be a safety for the Piranhas as we make it 36-0. And Tyler Cutler is going to charge ahead into the end zone, and we're going to make it 43-0. Just trying to get on the board here in the national championship. Ohio State has it in field goal range, and they're going to do just that as they get it to 43-3. That's going to be intercepted by Ohio State, and they are going to return it to our 38-yard line. Maybe Alex Keener should not have thrown that pass with a couple of guys in the area. And here's a sack for the Piranhas, DeJuan Aikman on that one. Another field goal for Ohio State, as this one's going to be a 54-yarder for their kicker. And he is going to send it up, and it is through to make it 43-6. And Ohio State's going to get a last-second touchdown here on a strike from their quarterback, but it will not affect the result of this one as they line up for the extra point for the final play in this one. They are going to knock it through to make it 43-13, and that is your final score here in the national championship. The Peteytown Piranhas winning a record 7th straight national title, surpassing their own record of 6 earlier in the Dynasty, and just absolutely incredible stuff from the Piranhas, despite that last play, which we'll just ignore. And I'm just so happy for this team and what we've accomplished this year and all the streaks that we're keeping alive, like I mentioned, and Petey Previtt holding aloft that trophy for the 15th time in his career. Just a remarkable achievement there. And we're just going to keep going as we get closer and closer to having the most national championships in football and college football history, really. So that's something to note for down the road as we continue to have great success with this program. Of all the great quarterbacks we've had in Peteytown history, none of them have thrown for more yards in a single season than Alex Keener did this year. In the national championship, we outgained Ohio State 370-160. For the running game, they had -2 yards and we had 109 and 2 touchdowns. For passing, they had 162, we had 261. On third down, they were 2 for 10 and we were 5 for 10. And turnovers, they had 3 and we had 1. In his final game with us, Alex Keener had 261 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the 1 interception, and he was not sacked. Then on the ground, we had Alex Keener leading us. He had 8 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown, while Tyler Cutler had 17 for 44 and a touchdown. Then for receiving, we had Stephen Fattenkuhn. Big day for him, 14 catches, 98 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Cordell Canady, 9 for 93. Ben Incognito and Sinelau Drake had their final game with 8 tackles, and Ben got 2 for a loss, and Sinelau had 1. For sacks, we had 1.5 from Ty Daly and DeJuan Aikman and Antoine Willett, then half a sack for John Callaway. On interceptions, we got 1 from Sinelau Drake, another from Gil Reynaud, and yet another with Derek Sims. And then we had a forced fumble today. That was by Ty Daly, and another one I forgot about with DeJuan Aikman, but we did not recover either of them. And then for kicking, Markel Komar came in and calmly hit 2 of 2 with a long of 56. In the national championship, Stephen Fattenkuhn was the best offensive player. For our season stats, Alex Keener had 5,177 yards and 70 touchdowns, and you would think that 70 touchdowns is a national record in a season, and you'd be correct. However, Nate Duck threw exactly 70 touchdowns as well this year, and it's his name that's in the record book, so go figure for that. And Alex also had 8 interceptions. And then in the running game, Tyler Cutler, he had 186 carries, 1,258 yards, and 15 touchdowns. Then we got Alex Keener, 78 carries, 571 yards, and 10 touchdowns, giving him 80 on the year, which is just mind-boggling. And then you got receiving, you got Cordell Canady with 105 catches, 1,726 yards, and 28 touchdowns. Then below him, you got Stephen Fattenkuhn, 148 catches, 1,333 yards, and 26 touchdowns. Then you got Max Mechie, 74 catches, 933 yards, and 7 touchdowns. On defense, you had Ben Incognito getting 112 tackles on the year with 23 for a loss. And then for our other TFL leaders, Ty Daly with 34, 31 from John Callaway, 23 from Ben, of course, and another 23 from Brian Stitzer. And then in the sacks department, we got 21 from Ty Daly. What a tremendous season for him, and very excited to have him back next year. John Callaway got 13, and he'll also be back. 12 sacks from Brian Stitzer. Then on the interceptions, we were led by Jose Homer in his award-winning campaign. Just a great job by him. We also got 4 from Tayshawn Whipple and Derek Sims, and 3 for Vince Lawrence with the backups. And then we got some touchdowns on defense, 2 from Bobby Goff and Philip Gayton to lead us. And then for pass deflections, 17 from Tayshawn, 11 from Caesar Juravicius. And then we got forced fumbles, 4 from John Callaway, 3 from Brian Stitzer and Ty Daly, 2 from Ben Incognito, and 1 from DeJuan Aikman. And then on recoveries, we had 2 from Philip Gayton and 1 each for John Calloway, Brian Stitzer, Derek Sims, and Sammy Middlebrooks. And then we got any blocks, not this year, but we did get some safeties with Ty Daly, George Otis, and Antoine Willett getting those. Markel Komar wasn't really called upon a lot this year, but he went 14 for 17 for 82%, and he had a long of 61. For his career, Alex Keener had 10,851 yards, 134 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions. Then for running game, we had Tyler Cutler, 243 carries, 1,511 yards, 19 touchdowns, and Alex Keener, 196 carries, 1,329 yards, and 28 touchdowns. And then Cordell Canady did most of his damage this year, but he finishes with 116 catches, 1,926 yards, and 28 touchdowns. Jose Homer leaves us with 217 tackles, 10 for a loss, and half a sack, and he also had 20 interceptions, which I believe ties him for the school record for career interceptions. Then we go down the line to 2 defensive touchdowns, 25 pass deflections, and then he had 2 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries. Also want to shout out Derek Sims, 193 tackles, 10 for a loss, 1 sack, and 9 interceptions. And then he also had 3 defensive touchdowns, 9 pass deflections, and he also had 2 fumble recoveries. I was sad to see Brian Stitzer get injured and prevent him from having a senior year playoff run, but he still gets his ring with this team, and he contributed so much over his career, and we'll be sad to see him go, and really happy with what he gave us over his career. He had 68 TFLs and 37.5 sacks with 1 interception, and then he also had 6 pass deflections. He had 6 forced fumbles and 2 recoveries, and then he also got a safety. In the players leaving stage, we had these 5 guys trying to leave because of playing time, but we were able to convince 4 of them with J.P. Bridges, Brian Castellanos, David Rawlings, and Marco Ballage, and those are all very nice. We did lose an elite dev guy with Rashad Root at edge, but it is what it is. I am pretty glad that we got most of our guys to stay. It's time to say goodbye to this incredible senior class, another one where they never lost a game while they were here and won national championships every year they were here. And Derek Sims, just a very reliable guy who led that incredible secondary that we had this year. And his safety partner was Cesar Juravicius, who made a lot of plays for us. Tayshawn Whipple, another playmaker at corner. And the award winner, Jose Homer, you could never throw deep on him, and when you tried, you paid. So just a fantastic guy there. Then you got our 2-year starter, Alex Keener, leading us to 2 national championships, and he had just a bonkers year this year with the numbers, and just a guy that we believe could have won the Heisman if it weren't for just the absolutely ridiculous stats Nate Duck was putting up, but it is what it is. He's the Heisman Trophy winner on our hearts. And then we got Glenn Kell. He was a award winner as well, just fantastic guard for us. And then you got Cordell Canady with all the fantastic receivers we've had in our history, really. He was the first one to win the Bolitnikoff Award, so that's a very nice feather in his cap. Then you got Miles Stitzer, another fantastic lineman. Ben Incognito, another award winner at linebacker. And then you got Max Mechie, who is a very reliable, very explosive number 2 receiver for us. And then coming down, you got Brian Stitzer. Again, I mentioned the injury thing, but just a fantastic player for us. And Tyler Cutler really stepping into his own as our main back this year. And then you got Sinelau Drake, the other safety, when we had those 3 safety looks, and he made plays, including in the national championship. Then Monty Bloom, a very nice, transfer receiver. Didn't get a lot of catches and all that good stuff, but when we did throw to him, he was able to make some plays and keep drives moving. And then we got some guys down here contributing and some transfers here that really helped us with Gil Reynaud and Philip Gayton and Malik Huval, of course, and just a lot of guys that we're going to miss and a lot of guys who made this year really, really special. This senior class of ours was one of the most drafted senior classes we've ever had, as we had 18 draft picks, and we had 8 first-rounders, including Alex Keener, Cordell Canady, Glenn Kell, Miles Stitzer, Tayshawn Whipple, Jose Homer, Derek Sims, and Caesar Juravicius. And then for round 2 guys, we had Max Mechie, Brian Stitzer, Sinelau Drake. In round 3 was Ben Incognito. Round 4, Tyler Cutler, Monty Bloom, and Sammy Middlebrooks. In round 5 was Malik Huval. Round 6, Gil Reynaud. And round 7, Philip Gayton. A very fun thing is that the Peteytown Piranhas are once again a 5-star team prestige program. In the transfer portal, we're trying to add players at receiver, edge, and cornerback. And for receiver, we're looking at Gideon Cushenberry with 91 speed and 95 acceleration, 94 catching, and 96 catch in traffic. He's got solid route running, and he's got silver downhill, press pro, and sure hands, and gold 50-50. Then you got TJ Bibbs. He's got 95 speed, 98 acceleration, 91 short route, and 92 spec catch, and just a very good receiver overall. Silver downhill, platinum press pro, and bronze sure hands. Then at edge, you got Jeremiah Zuniga, just incredibly athletic at 93 speed and 97 acceleration. He's got the platinum quick jump and bronze takedown, silver pocket disruptor, and bronze recoup. Then you got another edge player with Chris Mustard, and he's got 87 speed and 88 acceleration, 91 power moves. And then at cornerback, we're looking at Miguel Mateo, a boundary guy at 91 speed and 90 acceleration, 82 zone coverage. So really looking to see if we can add these guys to help out our depth. Moving ahead in the transfer portal, Gideon Cushenberry is in his top 3, and we got a nice lead over Penn State, and we have the week 3 visit this week. Then we got TJ Bibbs, and Miami is really challenging for him, but we have his hard sell, and we have that week 4 visit cushion. Then you got Jeremiah Zuniga, and we're just over Clemson for him, and we have his hard sell and that week 4 visit as well. I'm probably going to take Chris Mustard off the board because don't really have enough information to accurately say what his sell is, so just going to let Michigan and Duke battle that one out. And then for Miguel Mateo, we're neck and neck with Miami in second place. We already used our week 2 visit on him, and now we have his hard sell, so we'll see what happens. We are welcoming in wide receiver Gideon Cushenberry to the Piranhas. And joining Gideon this week will be cornerback Miguel Mateo, so nice to see that. In the final week of the transfer portal, we got TJ Bibbs and Jeremiah Zuniga, both with recruiting battles, but we do have the week 4 visit on both of them, so hopefully that's enough to give us a boost for these guys to bring them in. And there is TJ Bibbs joining the Piranhas, so like to see that. And we got Jeremiah Zuniga, so we're able to get those recruiting battles to go our way. For the transfer portal dev traits, Gideon Cushenberry is Impact, then Miguel Mateo is also Impact, TJ Bibbs is a star, and Jeremiah Zuniga is Elite, so not very surprised there. His stats were just so incredible, but very good recruiting class here for the transfers. In this recruiting class, we ended up getting 5 elite dev players and then 8 star dev players, and the rest are impact and normal, of course. And for the top classes, we have the number 1 recruiting class. It's 21 total players with 6 5 stars and 15 4 stars. Our guy Stephen Fattenkuhn upgraded his dev trait to elite. Replacing Alex Keener at quarterback will be Stanley Turner, and he's got an 89 overall, 91 with tactician boost, and for him we boosted up his accuracy a tick, and then we got his quickness up to 85 speed and 89 acceleration. Then for his abilities, he's got bronze resistance, gold step up, silver dot, and platinum on time. Halfback Bobby Grubb is a 90 overall, 91 with tactician boost, and for him, his quickness went up to 94 speed and acceleration. His elusiveness got a nice boost to 97 agility and 97 change of direction to go with 92 break tackle. Then we also boosted up his IQ. Then for abilities, he's got gold shifty and silver downhill. Wide receiver Frank Kenoy is a 99 overall, and for him, his quickness has been maxed out at 99 speed and 96 acceleration. His hands were also maxed out at 97 catching and 99 catch in traffic and 99 spec catch. His route running is 99s across the board. His elusiveness also got a nice big boost, and his IQ got a boost as well to 86 awareness. And for his abilities, he's got platinum cutter, double dip, and sure hands. We have another 99 overall wide receiver with Sua Tautu, and for him, his quickness was maxed out at 99 speed and acceleration. His hands got up to 98 catching and 99 spec catch, 92 catch in traffic. His route running is 99s across the board. His elusiveness was one away from its cap. He's got 97 agility and change of direction, and then he got his IQ to 83 awareness. And then for his abilities, he's got gold sidestep, platinum double dip and takeoff, and gold shifty. Transfer wide receiver Gideon Cushenberry is a 92 overall, and for him, he got his hands to its cap at 97 catching, 98 catch in traffic, and 99 spec catch. He also did some work on his IQ and a little bit of route running as well. And for his abilities, he's got silver downhill and press pro, platinum sure hands, gold 50-50, and bronze cutter. John Mackey Award winner Stephen Fattencoon is a 94 overall, 96 with tactician boost, and for him his route running is all the way maxed out, his hands got to its cap, and his blocking was one away from reaching its max. And then for his abilities, he's got gold sure hands and platinum outside shield. Offensive tackle Alex Vaughns is another 99 overall player, and for him his pass blocking met its cap, his run blocking went up to 92 run block and finesse and 93 run block power, his power was maxed out as well as his IQ, and then for his abilities he's got platinum pocket shield, quick drop, play action shield, strong grip, and wear down. We have another 99 overall offensive lineman with guard Kai Breeze, and he has maxed out his run blocking, pass blocking, and power. And then for his IQ, it's up to 89 awareness. His footwork is very impressive with 98 agility, 83 change of direction, and 99 lead block. And his quickness is up to 84 acceleration. And for his abilities, he's got platinum and pocket shield, outside shield, strong grip, option shield, and inside shield. Offensive guard Roger Matthews is a 91 overall, 94 with tactician boost, and we got a boost to his run blocking and pass blocking. And for his abilities, he's got gold pocket shield, silver outside shield, platinum strong grip, silver option shield, and platinum inside shield. Offensive tackle Grant Clapp is a 90 overall, 92 with tactician boost, and his pass blocking got a nice boost as well as his run blocking. Then for his abilities, he's got platinum pocket shield, outside shield, and strong grip, and he's got gold option shield and bronze inside shield. Transfer edge Jeremiah Zuniga is a 96 overall, and for him, his power moves went up a tick, and then he did a lot of work on his run stopping, and also the highlight here, we didn't work on it, but he's got that 93 speed and 97 acceleration that I pointed out during the transfer portal, just absolutely freaky athlete. And for his abilities, he's got platinum quick jump, gold takedown, platinum pocket disruptor, and bronze recoup. Defensive tackle Ty Daly is a 93 overall, 94 with tactician boost, and for him we got his run stopping up a nice chunk, then his finesse moves went to 95, his quickness was already maxed out, and his IQ went up a little bit, and for his abilities he's got platinum quick jump, takedown, and pocket disruptor. Charlie Sternberger is a 90 overall linebacker, 91 with tactician boost, and for him, his quickness was already maxed out here at 96 speed and 99 acceleration. His pass coverage is at 99 zone coverage. His run stopping also got a little boost, and for his abilities, he's got gold house call and platinum robber. Mike linebacker Dom Moffitt is another 99 overall player on this team, and his IQ went up to 85 awareness and 87 play rec. His quickness was already at the 94 speed and 98 acceleration, and his run stopping went up quite a bit, and his pass coverage is very solid at 93 zone. Then for his abilities, he's got bronze grip breaker, gold wrap up, bronze aftershock, platinum blow up, and bronze hammer. Outside linebacker Vince Lawrence is a 95 overall, 96 with tactician boost, and for him, his speed was already at 92 speed and 99 acceleration. His pass coverage got to 99 zone, run stopping got a nice boost as well as his IQ, and for his abilities, he's got gold house call and platinum robber. Cornerback Bobby Goff is a 99 overall, and for him, his man coverage got to 98, while his zone is at 95 with 99 play rec. His quickness is at 99 speed and acceleration. Then for his abilities, he's got bronze blanket coverage, platinum house call, silver ball hawk, and gold knockout. Strong safety Denzel Brink is a 96 overall, and for him, his IQ went up to 82 awareness and 84 play rec. His pass coverage reached its skill cap, then his quickness was maxed out, and he also boosted up his run support. And for his abilities, he's got gold knockout. This team was an absolute pleasure to watch all season long as they dominated opponents, and when teams try to make it close with us, we still beat them by at least 3 scores, so love to see that from our guys, and it was very special with all the award winners and getting our first Bolitnikoff award with Cordell Canada. Nice feather in the cap there, and I just love how this team was able to surpass our previous record of 6 straight national championships as we won our 7th, and now we're eyeing some more college football history. Next season, we're going to try to tie Alabama for the second most college football national championships ever at 16, and then down the road, hopefully, we can pass Yale with their 18. So a lot of history still on the line for the Peteytown Piranhas, and I hope we can get there, and I think we have the team that can really do some damage next year as well. I'll see you guys in the next video.